Cool, perfect. I don't see you guys on my screen, so if you have any questions, obviously we can wait until the end, but if you have any questions in the meantime, just shout. It's totally fine. Don't be afraid. Just shout them out. I usually do these kind of presentations in German, as I am German, so I'm not quite used to doing them in English. So please excuse me if some words sometimes they just sit on my tongue and I can't get them out. But we'll be fine. Yeah, Adobe Express, this is what we're going to have a look at today. And this whole presentation is designed, of course, more for the commercial side, but I tweaked it a little bit to make it a bit more appealing also for education. And all of that, the entire presentation is designed to provide context for a problem we are trying to solve, obviously to see whether you are having the same issues and to discuss why we believe we have a unique perspective and solution on this, and to solve these problems. So I want to take you all on a bit of a problem solving journey here today. And let's see if my computer likes me. He does. Okay. So what is the problem I'm talking about? It is obviously the demand for content. Yeah, demand for content is booming, posing here really a major problem for marketers and creatives alike. And you can see this everywhere, every day, especially on social media, on websites, news articles, blog posts, etc. Customers and consumers, they just can't get enough of it. And some companies are basically content farms, right? And in order to stay competitive, they are pushing post after post, video after video, every single day. And social media departments, yeah, marketing teams, sales teams, comms, ops, they all require content on a daily basis to interact with their customers, their students, their stakeholders. And those interactions, they can also have a quite an impact of the perception of a company, of a brand, of a school, a university. And this brand perception, this is really brand reality. The design of a brand, obviously, this is what all of these big companies out there they use. It's the difference between a shoe and a Nike. It's the difference between just a soft drink or a Coca-Cola. And at the end of the day, it's not just a phone, right? It's an iPhone. So brand perception really is everywhere. And I forgot to cut out this background I just I just noticed, but that's fine. So brand perception and the reality, they should match over time, right? Because the brand is just a collective impression some people have about a company, an institution, a brand, whatever the case may be. And it's the same if I show you this and I would ask you, what do you guys see here? And many people say, well, it's quite easy because it's a jacuzzi. But in reality, that's not really true because it's a hot tub. Jacuzzi is the brand. So all jacuzzis are hot tubs, but not all hot tubs are jacuzzis. And that's obviously the job of marketers and designers in every organization to make sure that brand perception continuously improves. And all of this ties directly into the content demand problem we're all facing. And this is how it usually looks. Maybe you guys know this, but creative teams are at capacity with repetitive tasks that limit their time for the actual high value creative work they should be doing or they're supposed to do, right? So have HR, they call in, no worries, nobody was naughty, but they need, I don't know, branded templates for job postings, yeah, some graphics, slides for internal communication, yeah. Then you have marketing, they maybe need a flyer for a joint promotion, especially in the education side where schools maybe even work together, right? It's all about communication. Social media team, they have the requests to post on all the different channels they serve. Sales teams in education maybe not so much, but in the commercial side, of course, sales teams they need demo decks, proposal templates, one pagers, presentations, etc. So you can see that creatives have a lot on their plate, but usually not enough time and tight budgets. And they also doubt the ability of non-creatives to create or adapt content to their either creative or brand standards. And I'm a photographer, and so I slide into that category of a creative. If I design something or if I change something and I give that project to someone else, I really need to double check to make sure that everything is in the way I like it. So we creatives sometimes have doubts of non-creatives taking over because we don't really know, can they actually do it? And then eventually, well, you have ops teams and they're challenged to scale, obviously, quality content with fragmented systems and siloed teams where basically one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And we at Adobe, we actually experience this pain firsthand. Okay, we have a dedicated brand team, and that brand team is responsible for the integrity of our own brand across every event, every social media post, every single asset we produce. So as one team, one studio team or one brand team, right, for a company of about 29,000 employees. In fact, we estimate we are producing 126,000 assets every single year. So it's a huge challenge here to producing all this amount of content while protecting obviously a brand that we have built since the 80s really. But with Adobe Express, obviously this has drastically changed, and this is also a good starting point to ask customers or ask in your own organization, do we actually have the same problem? Do we feel this pain as well? How do we handle internal requests when it comes to creativity and to create content? Do we do this internally? Do we use third-party agency? How much does that cost? How much time does that take, right? So always a good starting point. But we all know, hopefully, that compromising on brand and design standards to meet these demands for that content, that can't be the answer. And because so many teams can't get the content they need, yeah, many teams have tried to self-solve this problem by producing content that doesn't reflect the own brand or the company at best, and at worst introduces significant enterprise or company risks through unsafe AI, yeah, unapproved software in a company. And we probably notice everybody has always tried that, right? I need to remove a background from a picture. I just go to Google, remove background. I just upload this picture. What happened to that picture once uploaded? We don't really know. We just use any AI tool we can find on Google or whatever. But what happens to our data? We usually don't really know. And that's where we might introduce risks to an organization. But to be honest, we believe there is a path forward. And obviously, that is Adobe Express. This is our answer to enable organizations and companies to create content that is engaging, compelling, safe, and of course on brand. And we've tried to empower anyone within an organization to create these standout content, from images or to videos, flyers, banners, presentations, all of that without the need of advanced design skills. Um, and we obviously have integrated so many features into Express. Firefly, Gen AI, there's lots of AI features in Express, and we have a look in a bit more depth into them in just a minute. But also everything is integrated in the Creative Cloud. And when people ask, okay, what actually is Express? And because Express is so versatile, it's quite hard to give an answer. But it is really an AI-powered content creation platform for design, video, and social media. It's the quick and easy create anything app, which is using the latest Adobe technologies and assets to enable people and organizations to create standout designs on brand, easy, the fast way, and the safe way. And that also comes back to the pain I was just describing: protecting a business, protecting an organization, saving time, brand control. And we can use these brand controls in a different way when it comes to education, and I'll show you that in a minute. And obviously we wanted to understand this pain other companies have, and this is where Express basically comes in. So a time-saving, scalable, and secure solution driven by you and AI in a sense. There are many reasons why Express is the answer, but the first and probably one of the easiest ones to understand, but probably one of the most important ones, is that literally everyone can create almost everything with Express. It doesn't matter, social media posts, ads, explainer videos, reports, presentations, tutorials, everything. And all of that without the need of a deep graphic or designer background or knowledge. And when we talk about education as well, Express has a huge role in education. Back when I went to school, and we had like projects we worked on, we had to create a poster, right? And you had to cut out some stuff, and you crafting, and you have your glue and all that messy stuff. Obviously, these days it's all digital, right? It's everything is digital. There are thousands of templates in Express where I can pick from. One of the most biggest challenges for any designer who has actually studied design or graphics, one of the biggest challenges for them is they start with a blank page. And then they have to think about, what am I actually going to do? Like I said, with Express, we have thousands and thousands of these pro-grade templates. Um, Most of them have been designed by Adobe designers, and obviously they are safe to use in an educational environment. So you always have a starting point to start where your journey begins. And that's really something I like. And also, what else is important? Of course, collaboration, right? You want to work together. And teachers and students, they may work together on projects with ease, thanks to the real-time editing and commentary features we have built into Express. And then obviously universities, for example, they must produce content for maybe social clubs, yeah, open days, internal communications in order to draw in new students, right? And this is proper teamwork we can achieve with Express. And additionally, consider charity organizations, yeah, they can collaborate to develop projects for their stakeholders as well as potential clients. I'm not sure if this video has played actually, but I'll play it again. If I have something, I can share my project with someone. People can comment on it. We can all work together. That's pure, true teamwork, which I obviously really like. And then, of course, we have built-in AI features, yeah, and everybody should take advantage of these AI technologies. Lots of people think, "Oh, AI is here to take over the world and it will steal our jobs," but it's obviously not the case. AI is a tool, and that tool needs to be used. Yeah, if you want to put a nail into a wall, you use a hammer. That hammer is AI. That's your tool to do the task. We just need to understand how we can use that tool in the best possible way. And obviously, Express and actually everything which is AI related at Adobe is extremely safe. We would never, or Adobe does never use content or would train these large language models on user inputs. That's true for Adobe Express, that's true for the AI assistant Acrobat, and that's also true for Firefly. So super safe, because obviously we keep all of this always in mind. In contrast, other solutions, they may pose actually quite big risks. If you look at Canva, for example, you do have some sort of image generation there. Or if you look at ChatGPT, OpenAI, they use image generation. They use DALL-E. Yeah. What else do we have? Midjourney. I think Canva actually uses 2 or 3 different AI models, and you don't really know what's going to happen with your data, right? So this is huge thing, very important. We also have brand kits in Adobe Express, and I'll show you these in just a minute. And with these brand kits, they are obviously designed for the commercial sector to protect your brand. It's basically an online library, these brand kits, where I can say, I have got all my logos for my company or my school in one folder. I can say, only these colors I want to use, because this is, you can see it here, that's the Adobe red. It's a very specific red. It's the Adobe red, like the Ferrari red, right? You will never see a Coca-Cola logo in the colors of, I don't know, green and purple. Probably not. It's always white and red, just like Adobe actually. So you can set these colors and say these are these are my color palettes. I want to use only these colors. You can upload your own files. We have access to Adobe fonts, over 30,000 fonts available, comes all with Express, and I can create a little package and I can share this package, this brand kit, with my company and can say and can give little guide rails, can say you can use only these brand approved assets to create content. And the same works in the education sector. As a teacher, I don't have to use these posters and I have to cut out things and stuff. I have it all digital here. I can use these brand kits to tell my students, look, this is the task you have to do, but here are the guide rails I give you. You can only use these features, or you can only use these colors, these assets. Go and create, right? I'll show you this in a second, but it's super, super interesting. Next, I have a quick video. It's not really important what the guy is talking. It's more important what he is actually doing, because it shows how easy it actually can be to come up with an idea and take that idea to the next level and come up with something really, really cool. Let's have a look if I can share my sound. You should be all able to hear it, but like I said, it's not really that important what he says. It's more important what he does. But I'll let it play, and it shows really how easy it is to take a simple idea of a piece of paper and bring that to the next level in Adobe Express.
Everyone, Paul here. I want to show you how you go from a simple sketch to something spectacular all in the browser, starting out here in Firefly with that same sketch as a reference image. And for the prompt, it's just basically going to be multicolored or rainbow striped fuzzy fur letters. And sure enough, that's what we get. Look at these gorgeous results. And then I just get to play art director, kind of finding the one I like. And I could open this up in Express, but I want the control of Photoshop. But we're talking Photoshop in the browser. So I haven't left the browser. I have my image. I could do a quick remove background, and I have the precision selection controls like refine edge that I absolutely love in Photoshop to get this the way I want it to look. But you know what? I thought it'd be fun to just add a fun element in the background using some generative fill. So I'll just kind of paint a big circle, and I'm going to turn this into a disco ball. It'll be kind of fun. And sure enough, here it is, and we have a number of options. And we can always combine this with our own photos. I have a photo of the artist, so we'll drop that in, change the blend mode, and I'm really liking what this is looking like, but I'm gonna take it to another level using Adobe Express. This is where things get really fun because I could take this design, select some of these elements like these letters, and have them bounce around with some animation. Kind of bob in, move around, and Express is giving me new ideas like replacing that disco ball with a video of a disco ball. So I'll just do a search, find what I want, drop it in there, change the blend mode, and yes, this is looking pretty good. Lastly, I'll just add some text, really easy to do. This is for an album release party. Now that that's done, I can quickly just share on social media now or schedule it for a future date. From a simple sketch to something amazing, all in the browser, we're out of excuses to not create. So go make something amazing.
Cool. So you have seen how easy it actually can be really to come up with just an idea and take this to a whole nother level. Anybody who has ever worked with creative tools within the Creative Cloud, whether that's Photoshop or InDesign, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, to do all this, it will take forever, right? Just to make these animations, probably in After Effects, you would probably do that. It will take forever. Matter of fact, on Monday and Tuesday, I was actually in Barcelona on a training for Adobe Express, and the guy who was presenting and talking and stuff, and he has experience in the video industry for over 20 years. And I asked him how long we watched this video, and I asked him as a professional, how long do you think would that take to come up with these the letters which look like fur, the colors, and then make everything bounce around and animate the whole thing. And he said days probably. Yeah. So it's a huge time saver. And also what you have seen here, obviously we have access to Adobe Stock. So Adobe Express comes with access to Adobe Stock, photos, videos. It's all there. Um, I think it's over 200 million assets in Adobe Stock where we have access to. And you saw that we took that picture, a static, boring picture, and basically within a click to make it animated, we took that picture, or he took that picture, to a video. Now, as a photographer, we say a picture says more than 1,000 words, but a video says more than 1,000 pictures, because all of a sudden you have something animated. This is where you draw attention to. Super easy. Does that make sense so far for you guys? Do you have any questions so far? I take that silence as a no. Cool. Yeah, well, Adobe Express, I think, is more than just a single app. I've been using Express for the past year and a half privately. I have a small Etsy shop, and that's why I used Adobe Express even before I started working at Adobe, right? So I I see the potential Express really has. And it's really not just a single app, it's a creative platform that can act as a real creativity hub. Obviously, Adobe Express, we offer that on the web, right, in the browser, but also as an app. You can download that for iOS and Android, of course, which means content can be created either on the go or on site. We also provide an SDK for Adobe Express software development kit. So that Express can be integrated into existing apps or existing workflows. And finally, there are very or a lot of add-ons integrated into Express. Most of them are like third-party add-ons, like connect to Google Drive, yeah, or Google Photos. Um, all these kind of stuff. There are so many out there. AI voiceover, I picked just a few out here. Color blindness, yeah. If someone is colorblind, you can adjust that, or you can simulate how it would look like for someone who is colorblind in order to make content um, that can be accessed by these people, right? So many add-ons, and I will show you this just in a moment. Right, and this is how it works, at least on the commercial side, but we can obviously take that and change that to the education side. What you would have is you have your asset creation moment, your core creative team. These are the kind of people who are true creatives. They use the Creative Cloud, they use Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, they know what they're doing, right? These people, these guys create core creative assets for a company, for an organization, for a school, whatever the case might be, right? And usually what happens, let's say you have a university and they have an open day, right? A flyer now gets created for that open day, promoting that open day by the creative team. And once that's finished, they send that flyer out. Maybe they have a small marketing department, they send it out to students, they send it out to social media. And it doesn't take long before the creative team gets emails back. Um, we need to post this on YouTube. So the size you just send it out, we need a different size, has to be vertical. And also we're not doing this on the 15th, it's actually on the 14th. And we start at 9 o'clock now, not 9:30. All these little changes, right? And your graphic designer is sitting there thinking, why did I went to university studying 5 years graphic design now to change a few numbers? These repetitive tasks with Express, we can enable anyone within an organization to change that while staying on brand with these guidelines. So the creative team, they can remix and obviously create templates from scratch, and they can use these brand kits, which I will show you in a minute, to give guidelines or guardrails to basically everyone within the organization. And everybody can grab a template which has been approved by the creatives, right? And can change that, can edit that. And thanks to these brand kits, they can only edit what they're supposed to, right? So if I want to say my logo of the Oxford University has to be in every post we do, bottom right corner. because we want to stay consistent, right? We don't want to have the logo anywhere or whatever. Bottom right corner, I go into my brand kit as a creative and I can lock that feature down. I can lock that logo and say it stays there, can't be changed, stays there, right? And I'll show you this in a minute. And then everybody else within an organization can adapt these assets, all these templates, and then obviously publish them. And by allowing the marketing or brand teams to use these design tools, right? We basically enforce brand control and these guidelines in Express. And by that, we kind of can solve that problem for these huge demands for content because it is super easy and super fast to create stuff, right? Cool. Any questions about all of that so far, or are you guys happy? Cool, okay. We just talked about brand kits and how everything should be created on brand to protect your brand, right? Just went on LinkedIn, Oxford University here in the UK, and you noticed their logo, or yes, it's basically their logo. It's white and a dark blue. And if I would take an eye drop tool and have a look at that blue, I can guarantee you this is a very specific blue they have. And if I look at their posts, picture, white and blue, with University of York or Oxford and their email address and their message. Picture, blue, white, University of Oxford, email address, whatever. They stay on brand. They have the same layout for their posts, for most of their posts, maybe not this one, but for so many posts, they always stay on brand. And they can use Adobe Express for something like this, right? And this is how Express looks like. Super easy. And you can see if I would ask you when I'd say Microsoft, what do you think? Many people say cold, white space, and that's exactly how it is. This is what we associate with Microsoft: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, these productive tools with a blank white page, right? I look at Express and I see colors and it looks fun. And when you have fun, you learn, right? Um, and that's what's all about, especially if we talk about education. This is probably one of the most important things. Students learn when they have fun, right? And this is basically how it is in Express here. And you can see with the icons, everything is really easy laid out and super easy to understand. Obviously, you've got your search bar up here. You can search for literally everything you want. We have the big plus up here where I can have a look in these quick actions. And there are so many things you can do in Express. Remove a background. Just upload the picture you want. Click on remove background. Bam, it's there. It takes 10 seconds. You don't have to write an email anymore to whoever has these skills and say, hey, can you please remove the background of this picture? Send the email, it takes a day. The guy looks at it, it's like, bloody hell, why did I study 5 years to do this? Does it, sends it back, it takes 2 days. Here, it takes 10 seconds. I can generate a QR code, resize images, PDF control. So many people use PDFs these days. It is the most used form of documents, of digital documents. I can edit PDFs, I can merge PDFs, I can obviously view PDFs, all of that. Usually I need Acrobat for that, right? I can do all of this in Express. Video editing, there is a video editor built in into Express. I can resize a video, trim a video, merge a video. If I have a few video clips and I just want them to put together, let's say I'm creating maybe an image film or an image movie for a university, right? Or some students from different social clubs have created different videos about their daily life and what they do. If I would send that to somewhere and have 10 different clips, nobody's looking at that. I just put it all here, merge it, have one nice video. That's it. Many things. Animate characters, really cool. captions automatically. I can even translate these captions later on, convert images. I can create logos, combine PDF files. There is so many stuff here. I can obviously use Firefly and generate images. I can remove objects. Many of these quick actions I have here, of course. Your stuff really self-explanatory. Everything I upload will be in here. I have my brand kits, and we have a look at them in just a minute. I have my templates. If I click on here, very huge or big selection of templates. I can obviously the style, I can filter everything, yeah, and I can pick the templates I want. I never ever have a blank page and I don't know where to start. I always have a starting point, pick one, change it, and that's it. Schedule really easy. If I want to add, if I want to publish my content on social media, of course, I can schedule everything for each brand kit. I can schedule something different. Super easy. But let's have a look bit deeper in these brand kits and how we can use them. Obviously, I have a brand kit here from Adobe that was shared with me. I created my own little brand kit here. This is obviously an example of a real estate company, and this is how these brand kits look like, right? I have got my logos here, which I have created with white. Actually, it looks almost like the University of Oxford. That was not on purpose. But my logos, I've got my colors. I can add more colors. I can obviously change them, etc. But these are the colors I want to use in all of my assets. Like I said, we have access to Adobe fonts, over 30,000 fonts available. I can obviously upload my own fonts if I want to. Templates I have created or I would create for my team, yeah, or for my class, and any other assets, I can upload them here. So if I go to Express and I said real estate, actually I have one down here. This is one of the templates you can just search from, and it looks like this, right? And it doesn't look anything like my brand, like my Stafford Estates, right? So what I can do is I just click here on brand kits, and I have all my stuff here, my logos, my colors, and I just click on apply brand. And Adobe Express puts all the colors in here, all the fonts, everything with one single click, and I can customize that entire project. So everything I have here, I can obviously change. I can say, okay, this is my logo, and I want my logo to be, I don't know, up here as an example. And if I would be a teacher and I would create a project like this, I could literally do the exact same thing and can say, okay, this has to be always here. So I can lock it. I can lock it completely so it can't be moved and the image can't be replaced, or I can just lock it in place, but I can still allow that the image to be changed, right? I can say, no, I want to lock it. And later, when I share this template, nobody will be able to move or replace this picture, as an example, right? In the video we've just seen earlier, we have all these different things here and effects. So you can see how easy it is and how easy it looks like. It is really created for non-creatives or for people who want to learn more about creativity, right? It is super easy to use. I can go into these effects and I have so many of them. I can obviously use generative AI, and I could go here and say, I don't know, redstone bricks, and can say, okay, that text should, I want that to look like stone bricks. Now I have no idea how that will look like, but you can see we've got all these different options here as well. But AI just made me a text effect, a texture, and applied that texture to that effect. That would take at least an hour to do that in Photoshop, because you have to find not just the font, that's fine. You have to find all these images about stone bricks, which you can use commercially, right? But here, like you can see, really easy, really quick, and all these animations, everything I have here, right? Where I can animate this, and once I click on animate, as you can see, I have a timeline, and all of a sudden I have created a video, something where things are moving, right? And I can edit all of that. it's the same here. We've got different animations for the intro, for the loop, and for the outro as well, obviously. But I can say, okay, this should be pulsing. Yeah, we have an open day here, or and then you have like a call to action, contact us here, right? Uh, Book now, make it bounce, yeah, make it move. So super easy, and I can always say, okay, we want to resize everything. Isn't a problem anymore. Maybe we need this for social media. We need this for Instagram, then maybe for an Instagram story, right? And you can choose all these different features. Maybe we want to have this as a YouTube video, and I just click duplicate and resize. How long would have taken to take this to a graphic designer and say, change please all of that? As you can see here, I can do all of that within just a few clicks, right? Super easy. And the same goes when I say, you know what, maybe we'll work with different or in different channels, right? Different regions, different languages. It's the same thing. I go on translate, and this is English, and I say maybe I want this in German, and I want this in maybe in French. We have 47 languages here where I can translate everything. Um, Maybe not, maybe in Spanish, and I can choose the tone of the voice. Maybe I say don't change it at all. Translate all pages. I click on translate. I don't have to copy and then paste it into Google Translate, jump between tabs, or maybe use someone externally who speaks the language, right? Has to be translated. It takes a long time and costs a lot of money. And we have tried this with, obviously with German, because I am German. I've got French colleagues, I've got Spanish colleagues, we've got obviously so many languages, and the translation is really good. Obviously, we should always check because AI is never ever 100% on the spot, right? But it works so well. It saves so much time, and I absolutely love that. And you can see how easy it is to navigate. And when we talk about brand kits, it's the same, like I said earlier, in a classroom. If I would be the teacher and I want a project to be worked on, I could just share this, and I could literally just share all of that by copy that link, and I could share it with all of you. And in fact, I'm actually putting this into the chat. And you guys, even if you don't have Express, there's obviously a free version, but you can open it, you can have a look. And now imagine you're sitting in a class with 20 or 25 students. Everybody can collaborate together. Everybody can share their thoughts, their ideas. And like I said, I've been to Barcelona on Monday and Tuesday for an enablement session. And this is all the difference. Everybody sitting together, not like we do it now on Teams, everybody physically there, like in a classroom. This makes all the difference to collaborate together. And I can do the same thing here in Adobe Express. So you guys can have a look, have a play around, right? Obviously, with texts and stuff, I have media, my media tab here. I've got photos and videos. Like I said, everything we have access to Adobe Stock. I can obviously upload my own stuff, or I can generate an image, right? So maybe this is this is real estate here now, but I can say a big kitchen with loads of greenhouse plants as an example. I can put my style reference, composition, whatever. I can say, no, this look are supposed to look like a real picture, and I click on generate. Maybe not ideal for a real estate company because you would use real pictures, right? But for anything you want to create, to let your imagination run wild, especially in a classroom, this is brilliant. I struggled at school with, and I still do today, with drawing and painting. I can't do it, right? But I have ideas in my head. With AI, I can bring these ideas to life. I mean, this is obviously now a kitchen, but you can see how cool that looks. And I love house plants, and I would love to have a kitchen like this. Unfortunately, like something like this with a skylight, it's brilliant, right? So all of that works, of course, and I can obviously just, as you can see, just put it there if you want, or if I want. So photos, videos, even audio files, because remember, we're basically creating a video here. So if I want audio, sound effects, music, I have it all here. I can do it all. Text is the same. We have some stuff here, dates and periods, prices, all these buttons and stuff. It's as simple as drag and drop, right? I have it all here. And as you can see, Express is working with layers. Really, really cool. Really, really easy, right? Especially for students who are learning to work with graphic tools. These are the customers from tomorrow, aren't they? They will use Adobe products because, well, to be fair, these Adobe products are the best in class when it comes to creation, whether that's Photoshop or InDesign, Premiere Pro, photo or video, it doesn't matter. They will use Adobe. And by introducing Express here, this makes all the difference because they are getting so used to this. I absolutely love that. Elements, it's exactly the same. Backgrounds, shapes. Yeah, if I go to shapes, I have so many things here I can use. There are frames, there are even website templates. And the cool thing is, if I have something like this now, not here because I shared it, never mind. But what you can do with Express as well is build entire presentations and present them just like I did before, right? Build and create. Generative AI, like I said, we can generate images using Firefly. All the add-ons I was talking about, they all live in here. Maybe I delete this, so it's a bit better. Spell check, right? Attention Insight. Really, really cool. Uses AI to see, okay, I say this is a flyer or many poster, brochure, and I test this design I just created, and AI will tell me this is where people will look at, right? This is where you draw attention. And it shows me here in this heat map, basically, this is where the attention will be. Brilliant. Obviously, I have a focus map as well and a contrast map. If it's loading, there we go, to see how high the contrast is, different colors, etc. But all of these tools, all of these add-ons, most of them are third parties. Super, super, super cool, super, super easy. Any questions about Express, what we've just covered with the demo?
I
Cool.
think, Kevin, sorry, I have a
Yeah.
question. Just obviously, given that we are in South Africa and Africa here, in terms of the translation tool, are there any plans to expand that to include African languages?
Sorry, you was cutting out. I couldn't hear the entire
Uh,
sentence.
that's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was asking, obviously, given where most people that are watching are in Africa and South Africa,
Mhm.
with the translation tool, are there plans to add African languages to that?
Definitely. So what you see with Express, you have to understand Express is kind of new, right? It has been there for a year and a half. And
Yeah.
in today's terms, it is kind of new. This is not the finished product. This is literally the start. This is the beginning. And I've seen the change logs and stuff and things we want to implement. So yes, these languages are definitely coming. We have 47 here, or 45, but just 3 weeks ago, just before I went on holiday, they added another two. So it's constantly evolving. Obviously, I don't know when that will be the case for a specific language to be added. I don't know that, unfortunately, but it's a constant process. Yes, definitely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. And also, what's really important to understand is that everything is integrated in the Creation Cloud, the Creative Cloud. So with my brand kits, if I open Photoshop, InDesign, or Illustrator, I have everything in there. Unfortunately, I can't open Photoshop to show you because my laptop doesn't let me today. And my trusted laptop is a bit old. It always sounds like it's taking off when I open Photoshop. It's ridiculous. But it is all there. I can change everything within the creative tools like Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign, and it all gets synchronized to Adobe Express. Yeah. So if I would use Canva, for example, they have something similar with these brand kits, but I need to have my file, and I have my file somewhere on my computer or on a server. After I open that, I edit it, I change it, I save it again, and after I upload it to Canva, I have to notify people, hey, I've just changed this asset. I don't know, I changed the number, I changed the color, whatever the case may be, right? They have to download it, they have to put it into Canva. It's super complicated. With Express, everything is integrated in the Creative Cloud, and everything gets synchronized. And this is super, super cool. Cool. Okay. There we go. Come on, laptop. There we are. So this is obviously just a snapshot of some of the amazing companies who rely already on Adobe Express for their content creation. Things like Virgin Australia, Unilever, they are everywhere. Amazon. At the moment, I am in the process of getting proper success stories with some proper numbers. Obviously, we have some stuff on this next slide here. The main takeaway really is time and cost savings, faster time to market, and obviously a much higher engagement rate across the board. For education, it looks a bit different. Even though we know Express is or plays a huge role in education, we are not at the stage where we are with commercial in terms of these numbers to create success stories. But for example, on Monday next week, I'll be in Germany with a partner where we do an Express call out day where we promote and actively sell Express. These are the things we're doing to get real numbers from real people, real stories, right? But you just saw in that very short demonstration, there's so many things you can do with Express. For example, creating CVs, right, and applications. And I never really thought about that, but I can actually show you that really, really quickly. And I've never really thought about that something like this would be possible or could be done. But if I just search for CV, right, and if I go to these templates here, and I remove all the other filters, I get 3,400 different CV templates I can use. Yeah, make your CV shine, and a proper guide how to do that. Now, for a charity organization, for example, who supports people in creating that, or for education, when you prepare your students for the next step of their lives, which is the world out there where you have to work, this is brilliant, right? And everybody can collaborate together and work together. And this is just absolutely amazing. There are so many other things you can do with Express where I don't even know, have a clue what you can do, because it is almost unlimited what you can do. But like I said, we are in the process of gathering all these success stories, and obviously we will share of that once we have it. Cool. On the commercial side, of course, now we have the creative team, like I said before. Obviously, they can use Express. Everybody who's using the Creative Cloud Pro, CCT Pro, Express is already in there, already included, right? It's then to see, okay, who else do you have within your organization who could benefit from Express? Who else needs to communicate? Who else needs to create and change content, right? This is how we can look at this. So creative pros, obviously, they have Express. Marketing departments, yeah, doesn't matter if that's a company or a university. There's marketing. I'm not really sure how it works in South Africa, but here in the UK, you have to pay to go to university. It's money, it's revenue, right? So universities want to draw attention to their students to get new students in, right? Because they have to meet certain thresholds. They have to make certain revenue numbers. As sad as it is, education should be somewhere or somewhat free for everybody, I believe, but that's just how it is, right? Sales, HR, everything, everybody who's communicating internally, yeah, can create with Express communications, flyers, one-pagers, presentations. Everything is there. And even your common layman, the people who are just not creative at all, even they can use it. Yeah. And whether if that's just to create PDFs, That's perfect. For that call out day in Germany, I've printed out a little guide, right? A little conversation guide. How did I do that? With Express. It's so easy. It's almost easier than Word, to be fair. So Express is applicable for a huge amount or for a wide range of people within an organization. And like I said, it doesn't matter if we're talking about schools, K-12, higher education, or big enterprises, right? And this is a bit more commercially based, but these bubbles, they represent a micro version of the TAM, the total addressable market. But this is how it can look like, right? If you have your creatives and you want to scale your content creation and your internal and external communications, this is how Express can be implemented within an organization. In education, it's a bit different, obviously. But this is how it would look like. We talked about Canva as well. There are obviously some comparison sheets. There are some things I don't really understand with Canva, and before I personally used Express, I actually tried Canva, and I just couldn't get my head around it. Some things are just a bit weird. What is great about Express, like I said, is PDF integration, so you can view, edit, merge, or change PDF files. Usually for that you would need Acrobat, right? But it's all included in Express. So obviously with Canva you don't really have that fidelity when it comes to PDFs, right? And it's the same with these logs, right? When remember when we locked down that logo and we said, okay, this logo has to be always there, right? They do have something like this in Canva, but you can break it. Everybody can just say, there's a message saying, are you sure you want to move that? And you could just click yes. I mean, what's the point then? I really don't get that. And obviously, I showed you earlier, we have soft locks where you can still move around things, or you can change the picture at least, right? Or if you have a text, you can change the text, right? Or we have these hard locks. And it's the same for AI. Adobe AI is one of the safest AIs out there. It's the same with Firefly when you generate an image. And we creative people are always a bit concerned about AI when people generate images. Because if I go to OpenAI, ChatGPT, or to Midjourney, or to DALL-E, and I say create, I don't know, a cow standing on a field in the Alps, it will generate me an image. Me as a photographer, 10 years ago, I might took a picture of a cow and I uploaded that picture to my website, to my portfolio, so people can see it. Now AI comes along and scans the internet, sees my picture on my website and says, okay, this is a cow. I use this cow for the creation of that picture. That's robbery. That's IP infringement because I never consented for AI to take that picture. And this is how AI generation or Gen AI, when it comes to pictures, works. This is exactly how it works. With Adobe, we source every single asset and picture from Adobe stock. As a photographer, I have my cow. I can go to Adobe stock. I upload my cow to Adobe stock, and I say, yes, you can use this picture, this cow, to generate AI images. And every time that happens, I get compensation. What's the right word I'm looking for? Is it ethnical? It's ethnical correct, right? I can create safe images and safe assets with AI, commercially safe. We even offer IP indemnification. So for an enterprise contract, that's 3 million per asset, where if someone gets sued using Express or Firefly, and someone gets sued and said, if the owner of that original picture says, hey, that's me, I don't want that, Adobe covers you with $3 million. This is how confident we are in all of this because it simply works and it simply makes sense. Time-wise, 1 minute. Okay, not too bad. But to summarize, some of the key benefits, of course, I have it all here. IT teams, they like having one vendor, many solutions from from one vendor. It's so much easier for them, obviously, to implement. And Express can be implemented within minutes, within an organization. So super, super easy. Legal, obviously, they like it as well because they don't have to look after this vendor, this vendor, this vendor, this vendor for all different tools they use. So that makes things much more easier. And of course, procurement and finance, they know as well, because first of all, it's time saving. If you look at Canva, at the moment, I think Canva costs 90 pounds, British pounds, 3 licenses minimum per 90 pounds per user per year. Adobe Express, we have still the promotion open. Obviously, ask your distributor for more details, but the promotion is still going till the end of May, and I think it's 36 US dollars or so. 2 users or 2 seats minimum per user per year. So Express is not only safer, it's even cheaper with so much more features. I do love Express. I've been, like I said, using it for so many years now, or for a year and a half really. But there is so much stuff you can do in every sector with Express. And like I said, we know firsthand how it is to transform the creation of content and how to get out there and be creative. Even if someone is not creative, everybody is. Literally everybody is. And with Express, I can, that's many people say it's called Adobe Express because you can make things fast. Express the Express. I say it's not. They named it because you can express yourself. This is why I think it's Adobe Express. And I can see this really, really good, well working for charity institution. And if you probably know, but charity makes most of the thing of the education sector actually when it comes to Adobe. But in the classroom, super, super, super easy. And other bits when we talk about AI, some people are worried about AI. Can I unleash my child to AI? Well, with Adobe Express, you can, because the education version is a bit different to the commercial version. So there's kind of like a safe search. Everything is made safe in the education version for Express. So it is safe for primary, secondary school, etc. Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I know an hour, it's a lot of information. And for me, an hour always flies by like 5 minutes. For you, maybe it feels like it's 3 hours. But I hope you've learned something. I hope you have a better understanding of what Express is, how it works, and for whom Express is actually made for, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to know? Any other questions you have?
Kevin, sorry, thank you so much. That was very insightful. We did have some questions in the Q&A. I can read them out to you quickly.
I
So,
see it. Okay.
can you see them? Okay, yeah. Rather you take that then.
Okay. Okay, shall we start from the top? Does everyone in your organization need an Adobe license to collaborate in Express? Well, it depends. There is a free version out there, so you can just try the free version. Obviously, you wouldn't have the brand kits, for example, in the free version. But if I share a template with someone, you can still look around, you can still change things. It really depends on what you want to actually do or what you want to achieve, right? Can you import a file from other Adobe products and maintain layers for editing in Express and vice versa? Yes, you can, and I absolutely love that. So if you go to your brand kits, for example, you don't even have to use the brand kits. You can just take a Photoshop file, a PSD file, and upload that into Express, and your layers will be in Adobe Express. Vice versa doesn't make that much sense because you create something in Express and you would then download it as a JPEG, as a picture, or as a video or whatever. But yeah, you can use an Illustrator file, pop it in there. It will all be in there. It's really, really cool. That's why I say the integration within the Creative Cloud, this is one of the biggest things for me personally, why Express is so, so cool.